Hey there, and welcome back to Charge Your Comment. This is week 5. My name is Jenna Hilgenbrink, and I'm once again joined by head coach Keith Otterbein. Coach,
Hey,
welcome
Jenna.
back.
Thanks.
All right, so it was another tough loss last weekend, but you got to be happy about how the second half went. I mean, the defense just shut down a very talented offense. So what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, when we talked to him at halftime, that's exactly what we said is in order to put ourselves back in the game or win the game, we had to play them one snap at a time, and I think we did that on both sides of the ball, really. But particularly on the defensive side where we made a lot of things happen and generated some great field position and actually put some points on the board.
All right, so senior linebacker Steve Embry had 2 interceptions and took 1 back for a touchdown. We talk about all the time how great these 3 senior linebackers are, but what kind of things do you think Steve did really well that impacted the game?
Well, finding the football is first and foremost, getting into passing lanes, and I think part of the success that you have in pass coverage is the ability to put pressure on the quarterback, and so he'll be the first one to tell you, or any defensive back or anyone involved with coverage on the defensive side of the ball is going to tell you, in order for us to have good coverage, we've got to put pressure on the quarterback. And in both situations, we were able to do that. Steve did a nice job of being in the right spot and hanging on the ball. And as you said, he put us in great field position with the one and took the other one in the end zone.
Absolutely. Now let's just look forward for a minute to the next week. You're going to be heading up to Northern Michigan to play the Wildcats, and it's going to be in the Dome, right? So what kind of unique challenges or opportunities will that present to you guys, or what are you looking forward to about it?
Well, the surface itself is a little different than most that we're playing on. Most of the surface we're playing on now have the rubber pellets in it. This surface happens to be does not have those pellets. So it's a little different. It's not that big a deal, but at least we've addressed it with our kids. Basically, the idea is if they wear the old screw-in bottom cleats, those don't particularly work on this surface, but all of the molded sole shoes that are common nowadays work. Second issue in the Dome is heat. There's not a lot of air movement up there, so it gets pretty hot. So we've got to make sure we're bringing some fans to keep the circulation, the air circulating on our sideline. But it does get pretty stagnant in there, so we've got to make sure that we're ready for that. More than anything, making sure that our guys are drinking plenty of water Friday as we build up to the game and as well as Saturday before the game. And then probably another area that we've needed to address is the noise in there because it is enclosed. It gets pretty loud. Just like we put our students behind the visitors, they put their students behind the visitors and the band. So it gets pretty loud, and we're going to try to address that as we get later into the practice week once we've gotten our game plan in on both sides of the ball to create some crowd noise and have the ability to use our hand signals to communicate what things we need to talk about on either side of the ball.
You guys are leaving pretty early on Friday, right? Like 7 a.m. What's the trip going to do to you guys? I know it's really long coming up there, but is that something you look forward to? Is that something that may hurt your game a little bit? What's your plan?
It really does. It doesn't affect us too much just because of what we do. We get up there, and part of the reason we have to leave early is to get into the Dome so that we can work out. I mean, once you take, it's about an 8-hour trip, and once you take an 8-hour trip, if you don't get a sweat, then I think it can bog you down. But once we get up there and we run around and get used to the footing on the field and get used to the atmosphere in the Dome, break a sweat, and it kind of takes that bus right away. So the routine has been that way as we've been going up north, either to Michigan Tech or to Northern Michigan, and getting that workout in on Friday evening is a big key to putting that bus ride behind you.
That's very interesting, Coach, and thank you for joining me once again. And thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week.